At 8:03 a.m., my father's fist was hammering on my front door so hard the entire frame rattled in its hinges. "Alyssa, open this door right now. What the hell have you done?" My 6-year-old daughter, Lily, clutched my leg, her small fingers digging into my jeans. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. "Mommy, is Grandpa angry at us?" I looked down at her, those wide brown eyes, that innocent face that trusted me to make everything okay, and I felt my heart crack open all over again. But the truth is, this moment didn't start with screaming. It didn't start with a door being assaulted like it owed someone money. It started 3 weeks earlier, with a single text message that would unravel everything I'd been holding together for years. I was in my kitchen in Cedar Falls, Iowa, packing vanilla cupcakes with rainbow sprinkles for Lily's classroom birthday party. The morning sun streamed through the window above my sink, and Lily was humming some song from her favorite cartoon while coloring at the dining table. Everything felt normal, peaceful, even. Then my phone buzzed on the counter. "Mom, we are skipping Lily's birthday this year. Things are really rough financially right now. We'll make it up to her later, promise." I stared at those words for what felt like an entire minute. No phone call. No apology. No give her a hug from us or we feel terrible about this. Just a cold dismissal wrapped up as financial inconvenience. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. 1,000 responses fought for space in my head, angry ones, hurt ones, desperate ones that begged for an explanation. But I typed what I've been trained to type my entire life. No problem. Totally understand. Because that's what I do. That's what I've always done. Growing up as the second daughter in the Bennett household meant learning early that expectations were dangerous things. My older sister Jenna got the applause, the encouragement, the proud Facebook posts about every minor achievement. I got "Stop being so dramatic, and why can't you be more like your sister?" So I learned to smile, swallow it down, and pretend nothing ever hurt me. I looked over at Lily, who was carefully adding yellow to her drawing of our little house. "Hey, sunshine," I called softly. "You ready for your party today?" She looked up, beaming. "Do you think Grandma and Grandpa will come this year?" The cupcake container nearly slipped from my hands. They're really busy, baby. But we're going to have the best party ever, okay?" She nodded, but I saw it, that flicker of disappointment she tried to hide behind her smile. She was learning to do exactly what I'd learned. To expect nothing. To smile through the hurt. To pretend she didn't notice being forgotten. And in that moment, standing in my sunny kitchen with homemade cupcakes and a daughter who deserved so much better, I felt something cold and sharp settle in my chest. I didn't know it yet, but that text message was the first domino. And by the time I was done, every single one of them would fall. The week after Lily's birthday crawled by like a wounded animal. I kept myself busy the way I always did, working my administrative job at Riverside Medical Clinic, doing laundry, meal prepping, making sure Lily had everything she needed. Our little 2-bedroom rental on Maple Street wasn't fancy, but it was clean and warm and ours. Most importantly, it was safe. Lily never complained. Not once. She thanked me for her birthday cupcakes, treasured the new art supplies I'd saved up for, and stuck her classroom birthday photos on our refrigerator with pride. But I caught her looking at her phone sometimes, my old iPhone I'd given her for emergency calls, as if willing it to ring. It never did. My parents lived 20 minutes away in the nicer part of town, in the same 4-bedroom house I'd grown up in. 20 minutes. That's all that separated their world from ours. It might as well have been 20,000 miles. On the Friday before Christmas, I took Lily to Evergreen Mall to see the holiday decorations. She pressed her nose against store windows, not asking for anything, just soaking in the lights and magic of it all. "Mommy, look." She pointed at a display of ceramic angels. "That one looks like it's smiling at me." "Maybe it is," I said, crouching down beside her. "Maybe it knows what a special girl you are." She hugged me tight, and I breathed in the strawberry scent of her shampoo, fighting back the tightness in my throat. That night, after tucking her into bed, I sat on my worn couch and did something I knew I shouldn't. I opened Facebook. My mother's page loaded, and there it was, a new post from earlier that day. "Christmas shopping with my favorite daughter. Can't wait to spoil these grandbabies. # blessed beyond measure." The photo showed my mother and Jenna at Oakwood Plaza, their arms loaded with shopping bags from expensive stores. Designer logos everywhere. My sister's 3 kids, Finn, Harper, and baby Caleb, were all grinning at the camera. 37 comments. All heart emojis and "you're such an amazing grandmother." I scrolled further back. October, fall festival with my precious grandbabies. September, first day of school. So proud of these brilliant kids. August, beach vacation with the family. Photo after photo after photo. None of them included Lily. Not a single one. My daughter didn't exist in my mother's digital world. I closed the app and sat in the dark, listening to the sound of Lily's music box tinkling from her bedroom, a garage sale find I'd restored for her 5th birthday. The really sick part? This wasn't new. This was the pattern. This had always been the pattern. Jenna was the golden child, and her children were golden by extension. I was the backup daughter, the one who was supposed to be grateful for scraps. And Lily? Lily was collateral damage in a game she never asked to play. I'd been telling myself for 6 years that it would get better. That my parents would eventually see how special she was. That if I just stayed quiet, stayed accommodating, stayed small enough, they'd finally have room in their hearts for both their daughters. But sitting there in the dark, I finally admitted the truth I'd been running from. They would never change. Not because they couldn't. Because they didn't want to. And continuing to expose Lily to that rejection, to let her keep hoping they'd remember her, choose her, love her, was becoming its own form of harm. I stood up, walked to my daughter's room, and watched her sleep. Her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. Her drawings covering the walls. Her little life, so full of love and creativity and hope. She deserved better than breadcrumbs. She deserved better than being an afterthought. And maybe, just maybe, I deserved better too. Christmas morning arrived cold and clear. I woke up at 6 to stuff Lily's stocking, candy canes, crayons, a little snow globe I'd found at the thrift store. We didn't have much, but what we had was given with love. By 7, she was bouncing into my room, her face lit up like the sunrise. "Mommy, Mommy, it's Christmas." We made cinnamon rolls together, our little tradition. She stood on her step stool at the counter, carefully spreading icing while Christmas music played from my phone speaker. "Do you think Grandma and Grandpa will visit today?" she asked, not quite looking at me. I paused, spatula in hand, my chest tightening. "I don't know, sweetheart. But we're going to have a wonderful day either way, okay?" She nodded, but her smile dimmed just slightly. We opened presents in our pajamas. I'd saved for months to get her the junior artist set she'd been dreaming about, real watercolors, quality brushes, thick paper. When she unwrapped it, she gasped. "Mommy, this is the real kind. Like actual artists use." "Because you are an actual artist," I told her, kissing the top of her head. She painted for hours. Reindeers and snowmen and our house with hearts floating above it. I hung each one on the refrigerator like it belonged in a gallery. We watched holiday movies. We made hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. We danced to Christmas songs in our living room. It was beautiful. It was enough. Until Lily glanced at the front door for the 15th time. "Maybe they're coming this afternoon?" Her voice was so small, so hopeful. "Maybe, baby." But I knew they weren't coming. I knew it the same way I knew the sun would set and rise again. They had never planned to come. Around 3 in the afternoon, while Lily was absorbed in painting a winter landscape, I made the mistake I'd been avoiding all day. I opened Facebook. And there, posted just an hour earlier, was my mother's Christmas album. 43 photos. My hands started shaking before I even finished scrolling through the first 5. The scene was like something out of a luxury magazine spread. Their living room, my childhood living room, had been transformed. A Christmas tree that touched the ceiling, covered in what had to be thousands of dollars worth of ornaments. Presents stacked so high they created actual walls. Professional-looking decorations everywhere. And in the center of it all, Jenna's kids. Finn opening a new bicycle. Harper squealing over dollhouse bigger than my bathroom. Baby Caleb surrounded by boxes of designer baby clothes. 3-tier red velvet cake. Catered breakfast. Matching silk Christmas pajamas for everyone. The caption made my stomach turn. Our favorite little ones. Nothing is too good for these precious angels. So blessed to spoil our grandbabies rotten. Best Christmas ever. Hashtag family is everything. Hashtag grandma life. Hashtag soblist. 216 likes. 58 comments of people gushing about what an amazing grandmother she was. Not a single mention of Lily. Not one. My vision blurred. The phone trembled in my hands. Then I felt a small tug on my sleeve. Mommy. I looked down. Lily was standing there, paintbrush still in hand, her eyes flickering between my face and the phone screen I hadn't hidden fast enough. She saw it. She saw the Christmas wonderland. The mountain of gifts. The celebration she wasn't part of. Her bottom lip quivered. They forgot me again. Those 5 words shattered something fundamental inside me. Not with explosive rage. With cold, crystalline clarity. Sweetheart. It's okay, Mommy. She set down her paintbrush carefully, like she was trying not to break anything. I know they're busy. It's okay. She walked back to her painting, shoulders just a little more hunched. And I sat there on that couch, staring at photos of excess and favoritism and casual cruelty disguised as family love, and I felt something shift in my chest. Not anger. Decision. Pure, clean, final decision. They had made their choice. Now I was going to make mine. Lily fell asleep on the couch that night, curled up under her favorite blanket covered in stars. I carried her to bed, tucked her in, and kissed her forehead. Then I walked back to the living room, opened my laptop, and did something I should have done years ago. I started cutting them off. Not in rage. Not in revenge. In absolute, crystalline peace. My parents had been having financial troubles for the past 8 years, ever since they'd overextended themselves buying Jenna's family a down payment on their house. Since then, I'd been the quiet safety net they never acknowledged. I opened my phone's payment history and started going through every automatic transaction. Mom and Dad's cell phone plan, I was paying for both their lines. Had been for 3 years, ever since Dad temporarily needed help. That was $140 a month. Cancel. Their car insurance. I'd taken it over 2 years ago when they claimed they couldn't afford the premium increase. That was $280 a month. Cancel. The supplemental health insurance, another temporary help that had become permanent. $195 a month. Cancel. Streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, all on my account. Another $45 a month. Cancel. 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 Dad's gym membership at Ironworks Fitness. He'd begged me to cover it last year because his health was important. $89 a month. Gone. The emergency fund transfer. Every month, I automatically sent them $300 just in case. In 2 years, they'd never once said thank you. Deleted. Mom's subscription boxes. The makeup one, the book one, the wine one. All on my credit card. $127 a month combined. Every single one, cancelled. I went through everything methodically. Calmly. Each click felt like unlocking a chain I'd been wearing so long I'd forgotten it was there. Then I found the big one. The loan. 2 years ago, my parents had begged me to co-sign on a personal loan so they could consolidate debt. I'd hesitated, but Mom had cried on the phone about how stressed Dad was, how they just needed one break to get back on their feet. I'd signed. They'd promised to make the payments. I'd ended up making every single one. $430 a month, automatically deducted from my checking account. I pulled up the loan paperwork and read through it carefully. Then I called the bank's 24-hour customer service line. Hello, I'm calling about account number ending in 7743. I'm a co-signer, and I need to know what happens if I remove my automatic payment authorization. The representative explained that the primary account holders would be notified and would need to set up their own payment method. If they failed to pay, it would affect their credit, not mine as the co-signer, since I'd already fulfilled my obligation for the past 2 years. I'd like to remove that authorization, effective immediately. Certainly. That change will take effect with the next billing cycle, which is December 28th. 3 days from now. Perfect. I hung up and sat in the silence of my living room. Adding it all up, I'd been covering roughly $1,600 a month in their expenses. $19,000 a year. For parents who couldn't be bothered to drive 20 minutes to see their granddaughter on her birthday. For parents who spent what looked like $5,000 on Christmas gifts for my sister's children, while claiming they were financially struggling. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. I closed my laptop, checked on Lily one more time, still sleeping peacefully, and went to bed. For the first time in years, I slept through the entire night without waking up anxious. I was making Lily's breakfast the next morning, scrambled eggs with cheese, the way she liked them, when the pounding started. 7:58 a.m. Bang. 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 Alyssa, open this goddamn door right now. My father's voice, volcanic with rage. Lily dropped her juice box. Mommy. Bang. 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 What the hell did you do? Alyssa. Stay here, baby. I walked to the front door, my heart hammering but my hands steady. When I opened it, just halfway, my body blocking the entrance, I found not just my parents. My father stood at the front, his face crimson, a vein pulsing in his forehead. My mother behind him, wringing her hands, mascara already smudged. My sister Jenna was there too, arms crossed, wearing that superior expression I'd grown up with. And they'd brought reinforcements. My Aunt Bonnie stood on the walkway, lips pursed in disapproval. My cousin Trevor was there too, looking uncomfortable but present, a witness to whatever intervention they'd planned. What did you do? Dad roared again. I kept my voice level. Good morning. Why are you screaming on my porch? You cancelled everything. The phone. The insurance. The loan payment. What kind of game are you playing? No game. I just stopped paying for things that aren't my responsibility. Not your responsibility. His face went even redder. We're your parents. And Lily is what, exactly? The question came out quieter than I expected. Optional. Mom stepped forward, her voice taking on that martyred tremor she'd perfected over the years. Sweetheart, we explained we were having financial difficulties. You know we would have come to Lily's birthday if we could afford it. Really? I pulled out my phone and loaded Facebook. Turned it around so they could all see Mom's Christmas post. This looks pretty affordable to me. Mom's face went pale. Jenna looked away. That was different, Mom stammered. Those gifts we'd been saving. You'd been saving. My voice rose for the first time. You can save thousands for Jenna's kids, but not 20 minutes of time for mine. Aunt Bonnie cut in, her tone sharp. This is incredibly selfish, Alyssa. Your parents rely on you. Family helps family. You're absolutely right, I said. Family should help family. Which is why I'm confused about where my family was for the last 3 birthdays. The last 4 Christmases. Every school event I invited you to. We've been busy. Jenna snapped. Some of us have actual demanding lives. We can't all just work some simple clinic job. The casual cruelty of it, the dismissal of my entire existence, might have destroyed me once. Not anymore. You're right, I said calmly. Some of us have been too busy. And some of us have been busy being ATMs. But that stops now. Dad's hand slammed against the doorframe. You can't just cut USOFF. Do you know what this will do to us? About the same thing ignoring Lily has done to her, I imagine. Don't you dare bring that child into this. Mom's voice cracked. That child. The words exploded out of me before I could stop them. That child is your granddaughter. She has a name. The sudden volume startled all of them. I took a breath, steadied myself. Her name is Lily. She's 6 years old. She loves painting and strawberries and dancing to music in the kitchen. She makes me cards for every holiday. She says thank you for everything, even things she shouldn't have to be grateful for. My voice dropped. And she asked me why you forgot her again. Silence fell over the porch. Heavy. Absolute. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Dad's jaw clenched. Jenna looked at her shoes. Nobody said anything. Because there was nothing to say. They couldn't deny it. They couldn't explain it away. The truth was standing there between us, naked and undeniable. And they all knew it. Dad recovered first, his voice hardening. So this is punishment, then? You're punishing us for not being perfect grandparents. Not perfect, I corrected. Present. I'm not asking for perfect. I'm asking for the bare minimum of acknowledgement that she exists. We do acknowledge her. Mom protested. We love her. Love. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Show me. Show me one photo you've posted of her. One comment about her on your social media. One time in the past year you've asked how she's doing. Mom opened her mouth. Closed it. Her eyes darted to Dad, then to Jenna, searching for support. None came. That's what I thought, I said quietly. Trevor, my cousin, shifted uncomfortably on the walkway. Look, Alyssa, I get you're upset, but don't you think this is a bit extreme? They're your parents. They raised you. They raised me to accept whatever scraps they threw my way, I replied. To be grateful for being ignored. To pretend I didn't notice the difference between how they treated Jenna and how they treated me. I looked directly at my sister. And I did. I pretended for years. But I won't do that to my daughter. Jenna finally met my eyes, her expression defensive. So what? You're cutting them off financially to prove a point. That's not going to make them love Lily more. You're right. It won't. I felt surprisingly calm. But it will stop teaching Lily that love means accepting mistreatment. It will stop showing her that family means letting people use you. And it will stop me from enabling parents who clearly can afford their lifestyle, they just can't afford it without my subsidies. We needed that help. Dad roared. We are drowning in debt. Then maybe you should stop spending $5,000 on Christmas presents, I shot back. Maybe you should return that new patio furniture I saw in the background of Mom's photos. Maybe you should have thought about your finances before promising Jenna you'd pay for Harper's private school tuition. Mom gasped. How did you? You pocket posted it 3 weeks ago, I said flatly. The whole conversation about how you're so proud to give your granddaughter the best education. Meanwhile, you texted me that you couldn't afford to come to Lily's birthday. The truth hung in the air like smoke. Aunt Bonnie tried again. Family is supposed to forgive, Alyssa. You're holding grudges. I'm setting boundaries, I corrected. There's a difference. It's the same thing, she huffed. No, it's really not. I looked at each of them, these people I'd spent my entire life trying to please, trying to be enough for. A grudge would be me punishing you. Boundaries are me protecting myself and my daughter. You can still see her. You can still call her. You can still build a relationship with her. But I won't fund your lifestyle while you ignore her existence. Dad's voice dropped to something dangerous. You're going to regret this. Once, that threat would have terrified me. Not anymore. Maybe, I acknowledged. But I'll regret it a lot less than I'd regret Lily growing up the way I did, wondering why she wasn't enough. Wondering what she did wrong. Wondering why her grandmother posts 43 photos of her cousin's Christmas, but can't send a single text on her birthday. Before anyone could respond, I heard soft footsteps behind me. My heart sank. Lily appeared at my side, still in her Christmas pajamas, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her arm. Her eyes were red, she'd been crying. Lily, sweetheart, go back to. It's okay, Mommy. Her voice was so small, but steady. She looked up at my parents, at this family that had gathered on our porch like an angry mob. And she said the bravest thing I'd ever heard. You really did forget me, didn't you? The silence that followed Lily's question was crushing. My mother's face crumpled. Dad's anger deflated into something that looked almost like shame. Jenna turned away completely, unable to meet her niece's eyes. Lily stood there in her pajamas, holding her rabbit, waiting for an answer. Mom took a shaky step forward. Sweetheart, we didn't forget you. We just... You have pictures of Finn and Harper and Caleb everywhere, Lily said, her voice wobbling but determined. Mommy showed me your Facebook page once. There's lots of them. But none of me. That's not. Mom looked desperately at Dad. We've been meaning to visit more, Dad said gruffly, but even he couldn't inject conviction into the words. Lily nodded slowly, like she was processing information that confirmed what she'd always suspected. I tried really hard to be good, she whispered. I thought maybe if I was good enough, you'd want to see me. My heart shattered into a million pieces. I dropped to my knees and pulled her into my arms. Baby, no. This is not about you. You are perfect exactly as you are. This is about them, not you. Never you. Over her head, I looked at my parents. That, I said, my voice shaking with contained fury, is what you've done. You've made a 6-year-old child think she's not good enough to deserve her own grandparents' love. Mom was crying now, real tears streaming down her face. I never meant, I didn't think. No, I cut her off. You didn't think. That's exactly the problem. I stood up, keeping Lily close to my side. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady and final. I'm done funding your lifestyle. Every single automatic payment, every subscription, every insurance policy I was covering, that's over. You're adults. You'll figure it out, just like I've had to figure everything out on my own since I was 18. Alyssa, please, Mom reached out. I stepped back. I'm not saying you can never see Lily. If you want a relationship with her, you can build one. Real effort. Real time. Real presence. Not guilt-driven visits after you've been called out. Not a pity party on her birthday after ignoring her for months. An actual, consistent relationship where she knows she matters to you. We can do that, Mom said quickly. We will. I promise. I've heard your promises before, I said quietly. So here's the deal. You want back in our lives? You show up. Regularly. You call her. You remember her birthday without being reminded. You post about her on social media the same way you post about Jenna's kids, because she deserves to know she's just as important. I took a breath. And until you prove you can do that consistently, you're out. No more money. No more bailouts. No more me sacrificing my daughter's well-being to subsidize your favoritism. Jenna finally spoke, her voice tight. You're being cruel. No, I replied, looking directly at her. I'm being what you've all been for years. Unavailable. Dad's face hardened again. Fine. Fine. You want to cut us off? We don't need you. We have a real family that actually appreciates us. The words should have hurt. They didn't. Then I guess we are done here, I said. I started to close the door, but Lily's small voice stopped me. Grandpa. He looked down at her, surprised. I love you, she said simply. I just wanted you to know. In case you forgot that too. Then she took my hand and walked back into our house. I closed the door, locked it, and for the first time in my entire life, I didn't apologize for protecting myself. Through the door, I could hear raised voices, Dad angry, Mom crying, Jenna and Aunt Bonnie talking over each other. Then footsteps retreating. Car doors slamming. Engines starting. They left. Lily and I stood in our small living room, the morning sun streaming through the windows, the Christmas tree lights still twinkling. Mommy. She looked up at me. Are you sad? I thought about it honestly. Searched my feelings for the guilt, the regret, the fear that usually consumed me when I set any boundary with my parents. None of it was there. No, baby, I said, and meant it. I'm not sad. Me neither, she said. Then, softer, is that okay? I pulled her close, kissed the top of her head. That's more than okay. That's healthy. She squeezed me tight. Thank you for choosing me. Those 5 words, such simple words, broke something open in my chest and healed it at the same time. Always, I whispered. I will always choose you. We made pancakes together. We finished our Christmas movie marathon. We painted and danced and laughed in our little house on Maple Street. And when Lily fell asleep that night, curled up in her bed with her rabbit and a new painting she'd made, our house, surrounded by hearts and flowers and sunshine, I sat in my living room and finally cried. Not from sadness. From relief. Because I'd finally done what I should have done years ago. I'd chosen my daughter over my parents' approval. I'd chosen peace over people-pleasing. I'd chosen freedom over fear. The next morning, my phone stayed quiet. No apologetic texts. No promises to do better. No acknowledgement that anything had happened at all. But that was okay. Because in the silence, I heard something I'd been deaf to for 32 years. My own voice. And it was saying, "You are enough. You always were. And so is she." 3 months later, my parents still haven't reached out. Neither has Jenna. My aunt sent one text calling me selfish. I blocked her number. But Lily? Lily is thriving. Her teacher says she's more confident in class. She's making more friends. She smiles more easily. She doesn't ask about grandparents anymore, and when I asked her once if she missed them, she thought about it carefully and said, "I miss having grandparents. But I don't really miss them, because they were never really there anyway." The wisdom of children will break your heart and rebuild it at the same time. I still work at Riverside Medical Clinic. I still budget carefully. I still shop at thrift stores and plan our meals to stretch every dollar. But that extra $1,600 a month? Half goes into Lily's college fund. The other half goes into an emergency fund that's actually ours, not theirs. And sometimes, not often, but sometimes, I use a little of it to take Lily to the local art museum, or to buy her fancy markers, or to get us both ice cream just because. Because she deserves to know that love doesn't come with conditions. That family doesn't mean accepting crumbs. And that she is worth showing up for. Every single day. My parents made their choice. They chose favoritism, convenience, and comfort. I made mine. I chose Lily. And I'd do it again 1,000 times over. Because at 8:03 a.m. on that December morning, when my father was pounding on my door screaming about consequences, I learned the most important lesson of my life. The only person you ever really need approval from is the one looking back at you in the mirror. Everything else is just noise. And the only family that truly matters is the one you build, the one you protect, the one you choose to show up for, no matter what. The rest? Let them pound on the door. You don't have to open it.